What happens in movies or TV that seems to be normal and you think to yourself, that is not what people in real life do? I thought fighting was like the movies until I got into my first real fight at 25. All my ideas about fights came from watching action movies where the hero throws one perfect punch, the bad guy drops like a sack of potatoes, and everyone walks away looking cool. I was outside Murphy's bar on 4th Street around midnight when I saw this guy shove a woman so hard she stumbled backward into a parked car. She wasn't screaming or anything, just looked scared. The guy was yelling something about her talking to other people. Without thinking, I walked over and said, "Hey man, back off." Real original, right? Just like every movie hero ever. The guy turned around and he was bigger than me, way bigger. But in my head, I was still the main character. I was gonna save the day with one clean punch and probably get the girl's number afterward. He shoved me first. Not hard, just enough to test me. That's when I threw my movie punch. I put everything I had into it, aimed right for his jaw like I'd seen 1,000 times on screen. It connected, and you know what happened? Absolutely nothing. The guy barely moved. He looked at me like I'd just flicked his ear. Then he smiled this really ugly smile and said, "My turn." What happened next was nothing like the movies. There was no dramatic music, no slow motion, no witty one-liners. He hit me so hard I saw actual stars, not metaphorical stars, like literal bright spots in my vision. I stumbled backward and he kept coming. The second punch caught me in the ribs and I doubled over. Then I was on the ground. I don't even remember falling. One second I was standing, the next I was curled up on the dirty sidewalk trying to protect my face while this guy kicked me in the stomach. It wasn't choreographed. It wasn't clean. It was messy and painful and terrifying. My shirt got torn. Blood was coming out of my nose and mouth. I could taste it, metallic and warm. There was gravel stuck to my palms from trying to break my fall. The whole thing probably lasted 30 seconds, but it felt like forever. When the bouncer finally came outside and broke it up, I was still on the ground, breathing hard and spitting blood. That's when the worst part happened. The woman I thought I was saving, she started yelling at me. Not the guy who pushed her, me. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she screamed. "Why did you start drama? That's my boyfriend." Her boyfriend. The guy who just beat me up was her boyfriend, and she was mad at me for interfering in their relationship. She helped him up, checked if he was okay, and they both glared at me like I was the problem. I drove myself to the emergency room with a fractured jaw. The doctor had to give me 3 stitches above my left eye. My whole face looked like I'd been hit by a truck. The nurse asked if I wanted to file a police report, but what was I gonna say? I started a fight and lost? The healing sucked. I couldn't eat solid food for 2 weeks. Everything had to be smoothies and soup. Talking hurt, laughing hurt, even yawning hurt. My jaw clicked when I opened my mouth too wide, and it still does that sometimes. But the worst part was realizing how stupid I'd been. In movies, the good guy always wins. The punch always works. The girl is always grateful. There's always a clear hero and villain. Real life isn't like that. Real fights are brutal and messy. People get seriously hurt. Sometimes the person you think you're helping doesn't want your help. Sometimes you're not the hero of the story. I spent weeks replaying it in my head, wondering what I should have done differently. Maybe I should have called the police instead of trying to be the hero. Maybe I should have just minded my own business. My coworker Jake visited me while I was recovering and said, "Dude, you look like you got hit by a bus." Thanks, Jake. Real helpful. But he also said something that stuck with me. "At least you tried to do the right thing. Most people would have just walked away." That made me think. I didn't regret standing up for someone. I regretted how I did it. I regretted thinking I was in an action movie instead of real life. The next time I saw someone getting pushed around, I didn't throw any punches. I called 911 and stayed on the line with the operator until the cops showed up. The situation got handled without anyone going to the hospital.